accident, you need a lawyer, and you deserve an advocate. Because every accident has a ripple effect. It affects your time, your health, your ability to make money, everything. That's where the advocates can help. Speaking with an attorney is simple and 100% free. We're available 24/7 for your convenience, and we'll take on the claims process so you can rest easy. Because you're not just a client to us, you're a person, and you deserve the best help you can get. You deserve an advocate.
This is the Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find the Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Hey, the Monty Show live on Wednesday, February 12th, 2025. As always, we are presented by The Advocates at theadvocates.com. The best injury attorneys in the business. And they can't help Anthony Davis and the Mavericks. Hey, did you hear all the efforts by the Mavericks to try and trade Luka for big stars? And everybody laughed at them. We'll talk about that. Big day on the show for Dallas sports today. Because apparently Dak Prescott walks around high on ayahuasca based on the things that he says about the Philadelphia Eagles.
Right.
So we'll talk about that. Hello, everybody. Appreciate you. If you are watching on Twitter, massive day on the old tweet machine yesterday. Very much appreciate you. Please come over to YouTube. Just Google search The Monty Show, M-O-N-T-Y, The Monty Show. If you're on Spotify, if you are on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, no matter where you are, including your mom's house, make sure that you find The Monty Show on YouTube. Hit subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Consider joining our membership. In what is always, and I mean always, the best way to start this show, Dana Marie joins the membership. Let's.
Oh, okay. Okay, there you go. Hey, Dana.
Let's go.
Dana.
Let's go. Dana, good to see you. The real Pete Forte. Good morning, too. He's been a member for 15 months.
Go, Pete.
Go, Peter. Peter.
Hey,
Aztec
Peter
Eater
guy.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Good to see all of you. Let's get right to work on college football this morning. NBA certainly coming up today. We've got a ton. We've got to talk about Trav again. Aaron Rodgers getting a Pat McAfee ultimatum. Oh, we've got stuff to talk about. But let me just ask you, and I know this is going to seem like an obscure question, but is Paul Finebaum relevant? Is Paul Finebaum a voice in college football where when he talks, you listen? Now, obviously, when I talk, you listen because, you know, but when you hear Paul Finebaum talk about college football, is it exciting to you? Is it something where you're like, oh, man, Finebaum's talking, I've got to listen? Because for me, it's not. Paul Finebaum is in no way, shape, or form on my radar. I am 52 years old. I am a sports fanatic. I am a college football fanatic. It's something I ingest and watch on a pretty much daily basis, whether that's games or news. And Paul Finebaum's not relevant to me. I don't think about him ever. And then you start hearing these conversations that Paul Finebaum is having on his program where he calls the NCAA a disaster. And he essentially says that college football is in real crisis. And I don't disagree with that. I think the premise of what Finebaum is saying is correct. I believe very, very seriously that college football is at a major tipping point. And without a move to a Super League model, I don't believe that college football can survive. You look at this Pac-12 Mountain West fight in court. You look at the ACC situation. You look at the Big Ten and the SEC fully grabbing power. The only way you level these playing fields, in my opinion, if you're the Big 12 and the ACC, you should be terrified. You should be fighting tooth and nail to get a Super League. Because the only way you level these playing fields is to bring in private money and be able to compete dollar for dollar with the Big Ten and the SEC. Because, Jake, other than that, I agree with old Baldy Finebaum. I think college football's in real trouble.
Yeah, and I think, one of the things that we've talked about on the show so much that Paul kind of alluded to yesterday was that college football has to get into a place where it's an NFL minor league model, right? Where they're operating college football the way that Roger Goodell and the 32 NFL owners operate the NFL, which is, hey, we're all on the same page. And when we say we all are, Paul is referencing everything from head coaches to TV partners. He did a whole bit where he's talking about like, hey, the NFL's got 4 TV partners: ESPN, Fox, CBS, and NBC, and a 5th in Amazon, obviously. And they're all pushing in the same direction. They're all going after the same goal, which is to get the most viewership possible on the product. And in college football, it's a little bit different than that, obviously. In college football, you essentially have 2 entities in ESPN and Fox. Those are your 2 TV partners. And Paul's point that he was making was that they don't really work together a ton to push the sport forward. They're just kind of doing their own deals. And, there's viewership here, viewership there. But not everybody in the room is following sort of this same like goal and mission. And I think we've talked about it on the show so much that college football has to get it to a point with the Super League concept, which I completely agree with, where everyone's on the same page. Hey, we've got this many teams in the Super League. We've got this many TV partners, covering the Super League or distributing the Super League. And then when we have those 2 things in alignment, now we can go out and we can say, okay, cool. What's the next thing that's going to power college football for the next 20 years? What's the next thing that people can get excited about? And I think that's where, getting to that place from where you are now is why Paul said college football is a disaster. And I got to say, I don't disagree with Paul. College football is not in a great place from an organizational standpoint.
Whoa. I think that's correct. The college football world is not dying. Let's stop with the, oh my God, Monty. Settle down. As you hit the like button here on YouTube, ask yourself, did you watch more or less college football this year? I watched a ton. An absolute ton. I'm a Notre Dame fan. Obviously, going to the national championship game, I was dialed in every week. I watched Big 12 football. I have watched a ton of BYU football. Colorado. I watched a lot of Texas Tech football this year. I watched a lot of football, more football than I think I have ever watched.
With the caveat, in all fairness, that we do a show and we have to stay plugged in, right?
Sure.
So part of what we do requires us to watch a ton of football.
But I could easily have taken the shortcuts this job just certainly. Now, my obsessive personality aside, this job does not require you to watch 10, 12 hours of football every Saturday. You could, I think you would agree with that.
Yeah,
we know people who don't.
I think that, so there, it's just like anything else in life when it comes to your job or what you do, right? There's the right way, and then there's the other way to get to the same place. So the right way would be, it depends. If we're going to talk about a game in detail, I got to watch that game front to back. I got to be able to talk about the intricate details, So there are some games, in my mind, when I'm thinking about what college football I want to watch, I have kind of three tiers or 2 tiers. The tier 1 games are the games where it's hey, you damn well better be posted up in front of the TV, watching that game and understanding the nuances and the intricacies of what actually went down in that football game. The tier 2s are hey, I'd like to catch maybe the first half or the second half, and I'd really like to understand this guy or that guy.
Hey, Oregon, the number 1 team in the country. Yeah, they're playing, crap box state.
Michigan. The Oregon-Michigan game was a first half, second half game.
Yeah, Texas, Michigan, Texas walking away from Michigan. Okay, yeah. I'm going to flip over to, I totally agree with that. Now, the third tier.
The third tier are games where I'm going to maybe catch a possession or 2 in the entire game, and I'm just going to look at the box score after the game because it's going to be a matchup where it's hey, this team should beat the hell out of the other team.
Alabama Mercer.
Right. And I just need to see, like, hey, did we get, you know, Ohio State playing Purdue? You know, was it a Will Howard game or was it Travion or who was it? That type of situation. And so my main point in all of that is just that when Paul's talking about college football needing to get, you know, more together, more organized, more kind of pushing in the same direction, I don't disagree with him on that. I think the hard part is that college football is hundreds of universities deep, and the NFL is 32 teams and is comprised of all billionaires who don't have any money problems.
But I think the biggest issue here is college football's not hundreds of teams deep. College football is 5-6 people making decisions for hundreds of college football programs.
I would agree.
That's the problem with college football.
Yeah.
And there's this belief that if you are, and this always comes down to, oh, Marty, you can't exclude the G5. We can.
Actually,
we can.
Yeah, we
yeah,
can.
Yeah, we
can. Yeah.
And again, the reality is different than what your emotions say that it should be or what you want it to be. But the truth is, how many G5 programs, and we've talked about this, maybe UNLV is a great example of this. How many G5 programs are capable but won't spend the money?
Program.
How many G5 programs are willing to put $1 billion into football?
Yeah, I would say very few, and that would be extremely rare.
If you look at what it takes to compete at a national championship level, and I am not exaggerating, I am not just trying to be over the top spectacular. If you are any G5 program, if you want to compete with Ohio State, it's probably $1 billion you have to inject into your football program because you need the facilities, you need the human beings, you need the players. I mean, it's everything. You need a nicer bus. You need, everything.
Yeah.
You need, look across this country. How many spectacular college golf facilities are we seeing?
Mm-hmm.
A ton.
I think it was, I think the other day, it might have been Vanderbilt maybe, or might have been Rice put out a ridiculous,
spending
like just
millions.
Crazy money.
So let me get this right. Their football programs are making so much money that they're powering golf facilities. And you think that you can just, oh, well, we're Boise State. It doesn't work that way. And you're going to have to spend $1 billion to get to that level.
Yeah, I think that part of the other part of the conversation, obviously we've talked about this, is private money. I think at some point the G5, because like there's two classifications for G5s. There's the G5 that want to compete and are serious about taking a shot and getting into a future Super League model. And then there's the G5 that has a football team that is not interested in any way, shape, or form. So what I'm talking about is the G5s who do care, like, Boise State, UNLV, there are several obviously that we can point to, but those schools that actually give a damn and are trying to compete and trying to do the best that they possibly can, those are the schools that need to go after private money in their athletic department. And I don't know, it's almost as if it's like uncouth. It's like taboo to say, oh, hey, we're going to bring in private money.
But it's not. It's not, because again, and I use Ohio State as the bar of excellence in college football right now. They make money, they spend money, they win games across the board, right?
Uh-huh.
The most difficult run to a college football championship we've ever seen. They just did it.
Yeah.
And they did it because they spent money on coaches right there. I think this is, you want to talk about private money? Private money today is Gayha Field. Private money today is the Toyota sign in the back of the end zone. Right. That's what private money is today. It needs to go beyond that. It needs to become you need to take your football department and you need to put it needs its own bank account. Right?
Arizona.
It needs its own LLC. And you need to have people that own it. Now, the University of Notre Dame. Notre Dame owns its football program. 95% of it. Another thing, I was talking to a guy yesterday about this. What does private money look like? Have you thought about, have you done the equation of, well, what is, everybody talks about private money. What does that mean? That doesn't mean that private money is paying for 100% of your football program. What that means is, like in the case of a Notre Dame, an Ohio State. Ohio State doesn't need $1 billion cash injection, right? What do you value Ohio State at? So here's how private money is going to work, because these are the conversations happening across the country right now today in your favorite university. Okay, well, if we break football off into its own enterprise, what is the value of that football team? And I don't know the value of Ohio State football, but I'm just going to use round numbers. Okay, the value of that football team is $100. The value of the football product at Ohio State is $100. Yeah, but, we need $150 to compete at the very top. Okay, so I'm going to go and get a $50 cash injection from Jake's equity fund.
Mm-hmm. Jakey Two Shakes, please.
Jakey Two Shakes is going to give us a cash injection.
Right.
He now owns not 50% of Ohio State football.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If the valuation's 100 and you're putting in 50, that doesn't mean you own half the program. What it means is that you get a return of a negotiated rate. Okay, well, if I give you $50, what are you going to give me in return? We're going to guarantee you a 10% return every single year. So every year, Jake's getting $5 extra back on his $50. So he's going to get $50, and I'm going to give him $5 more.
Okay, so if I give,
every year,
if I give you $10, then that percentage is going to go up. Yeah,
that percentage is, well, if you give me $100, that rate of return now goes to 15%. It's not that you're giving away ownership.
Right.
What you're giving away is a piece of the profit pie. Because when you invest in a company, what happens if they lose money? You lose money.
Right.
So you're not giving away ownership. You're giving away part of your profit. So here's the question I ask you. If you're Boise State, can you afford, how much of your profit can you afford to give away because you want to win at the highest level? Because that's the real question here. Because you and I both know Boise State, Fresno State, San Diego State, and the pro rata they don't deserve.
Right.
Ask yourself how much money they need to compete with Ohio State, because that's the bar. Ohio State's the bar. How much money does San Diego State need to compete there? It's $1 billion. Now, they've already spent some of that at Snapdragon, which is phenomenal. But now you've got to go and get, like right now, what's the new hot position in the football program? General manager. Because you need somebody who oversees your business. You need somebody who oversees how your money's spent, where your money's coming in from. That's not the chancellor or the athletic director, because football is its own business unit.
But I think at a lot of places it is the athletic director right now. That's the problem.
Which is not smart.
Yeah, that's the problem, is that what schools at a certain point are doing. I think this happens more in the G5 than it would at a power school. But I think what a lot of schools do is they say, okay, you're the athletic director. Hey, this was your job description when you signed on to the job, but now we need you to do more. And you're the only logical choice. And I think that if we've learned anything over the last couple of years in college football, whether it was the Pac-12 situation, whether it's been the molding of the college football playoff, the reality of the situation is that people don't know what to do to keep up with the times. So like people don't understand, okay, well, if our athletic director is responsible for everything happening in the athletic department, is it smart to then pile on top of that? Or would it be smart to go ahead and hire someone to only worry about the money coming in and out of the program and just allow the AD to do the ADing, if you will?
Yeah.
And that's what I think people don't want to do right now, because there's added costs. You got to pay another person. And I don't think they want to pay somebody yet.
And you start looking at some of the numbers. USA Today did a great job with athletic department valuations for 2024. And again, I tell you, Ohio State's the bar. Ohio State, their revenue was $280 million in 2024. They're valued at $1.32 billion.
Yeah.
Okay, well, USA Today ranked the top 75 valuations. The University of Memphis, who essentially the Pac-12 is selling out to add to their conference, to save the Pac-12. It's worth $148 million, and they made $64 million. Let that sink in. Memphis worth $148 million. Ohio State's worth $1.3 billion.
Yeah, that's a lot.
$1.3 billion. Do you understand? Do you understand how much? Let's do a Siri experiment. Hey Siri, what's the difference between $1.3 billion and $148 million?
The answer is $1,152,000,000.
Motherfucker, she just said that Memphis has a shortfall of $1.1 billion.
Yeah.
Compared to Ohio State. And just for a frame of reference, Memphis is the savior of the Pac-12 if you listen to Pac-12 talking heads.
Right.
At a $1.15 billion deficit.
So you have no frame of reference here, Donnie.
And that doesn't even account for South Florida or East Carolina. Oh, look at that. Boise State. Boise State at $178 million valuation.
Good luck.
You're $1 billion short at Boise State. You're the 72nd most valuable athletic department in the country. That's why when we talk about private money and we talk about super leagues, it's not if or will, it's when and how the super league will happen.
Yeah.
Because there's too much money to be made. And people like Boise State, dude, you know how many potatoes $1.1 billion is? Do you understand how much money that is? That's a lot of money. You're not doing, you can build all kinds of new facilities in Boise. You're not coming up with $1 billion. So the haves and the have not, I think it's absolutely real. Do I think college football is dying? I don't. Do I think we have real systematic issues? Yes. Do I think that Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti have far too much power? Yes. Do I think the G5 will ever have a chance to truly compete regularly for a national championship? I don't. I do not. I think we're probably going to 14 teams this coming year or the year after. And then in 2027, I think we're going to have a super league. Because there's just too much money to be had not to do it.
Yeah.
Do you guys understand how far apart that is?
Yeah, and that's where I say, like, college football has to kind of get its ducks in a row here.
It's $1 billion difference in valuation.
Yeah.
If I go to a bank and I'm worth $1 billion and he's worth $100 million, do you know how far apart that is? You don't have a bridge to span that gap. You don't have, there's no loan that's getting you there. I hope people understand how big of a schism, how the Grand Canyon can't hold that much money.
Yeah.
You're talking about football programs that they made $64 million in revenue. You know, that's only $220 million behind what Ohio State made. That is earth-shattering to me. And crappy athletic programs like Oklahoma are making $200 million. That is what is so shocking to me, that you are looking at a situation where you just can't make this kind of money up. Like, do you understand that somebody like Oklahoma State is 46th in athletic department revenue? They're worth less than half of what Ohio State is worth. They're worth at Oak State $500 million.
Yeah.
500. A winless football team is worth $500 million. Ohio State's worth $1.32 billion. They're worth more than twice. And you wonder why they can't compete. And that's a really bad athletic program at Oak State. Where didn't the president just step aside there?
Yes.
That's how bad the athletic department is. And they're still worth $500 million. And you're worth 100.
Yeah. It's pretty clear, dude. Separation of classes is real. That's
the biggest issue.
Yeah.
That is the single biggest issue when we go up and down these lists. We do it all the time. Let's read you the top 10. Okay, for frame of reference. University of Oklahoma with a valuation of $928 million. Their revenue was $199 million. So from here up, everybody's making $200 million in revenue.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee at 9, $202 million. At 8, Nebraska, who doesn't win anything but volleyball. $943 million valuation, $205 million in revenue. Georgia, a dynasty in college football worth $950 million, making $210 million. Notre Dame, worth $969 million, estimating $224 million in revenue. Their books are private. Alabama, worth $978 million, made $200 million. University of Michigan, $1.06 billion valuation, $230 million. Texas A&M, $1.26 billion valuation on $279 million. Who do you think is number 2? Between Texas A&M and Ohio State at number 1, A&M at 3. How about the University of Texas at Austin? $1.28 billion valuation, $271 million in revenue. This is the kind of money that we're playing with.
That's what I'm saying. It's not that the world is ending in college football, but the college football you know and love right now is not going to last a long time. Like, it is what it is. Like, do you
have a problem with that?
I mean, I don't have a particular problem with it, but I do have a problem with doing nothing. The good news is that it seems like there's progress being made. It seems like we're always hearing about talks and conversations and meetings and, stuff like that going on. So I feel like we're trending in the right direction, it seems like, but ultimately, we're sitting here looking at these numbers, and yeah, there's a clear separation of classes, but we already knew that. This is not surprising, right? I do think it's, when you start to look at it, it is a little shocking just how far the gap is, but we all knew that, Texas is obviously in a different place financially.
You're not surprised by this at all.
No, the top dogs in college football, I'm not surprised at all. They should be this far ahead. Like, they've got more opportunity. They've been doing this at this level for 20 years at least. Like, you just are in a better place.
How about the bottom 10? Because I think this is shocking. Obviously, I told you about Memphis. And again, real quick, look at the top numbers. 1.3, 1.2, 1.2. Look at all the billion.
Yeah.
Look at all the top 4 teams, the top 4 universities are over $1 billion. Memphis at 148. South Florida at 150. $150 million valuation. And then look at the profit number in the second column. Revenue number, $71 million generated at South FLA.
Yeah.
East Carolina, Boise State, $61 million in revenue. Connecticut. Oh, Monty, you got to add Connecticut football in the Big 12. Really? $93 million in revenue. Central Florida, UCF, Big 12, $85 million in revenue, $181 million valuation. That's a Power 4 team. University of Cincinnati, Big 12, $87 million on a $216 million valuation. Oh, wait, another Big 12 team.
Another one.
That's 3.
Fucking A.
Arizona State, $115 million in revenue, $279 million valuation. San Diego State, $104 million, $287 million valuation.
Hey, guys.
Oregon State, $92 million, $326 million valuation. Well, looky here. Southern Methodist University. Dallas County's own SMU, $86 million in revenue. Let that sink in. Do you guys see what I mean about SMU?
How embarrassing is it for the ACC that SMU is this low down the list and just won your conference?
You're making the same money as UCF.
Like,
you're making less money than Cincinnati, than Arizona State, than San Diego State, and Oregon State. That's the top 10. That's the bottom 10, according to USA Today.
yeah.
These numbers should be stifling to you because, again, look at the top 10. $200 million. Look at how many in the top 10. 9 of the top 10 made $200 million, and Oklahoma made $199 million. So round it up if you want. All the top 10 universities made $200 million in revenue. And you didn't. And then you look at Paul Finebaum talking about the Big Ten. It's a new narrative surrounding the Big Ten. And for somebody who talks 20 hours a week to SEC fans, it's on their minds. I'm sitting here and I've got millions of people watching, and I'm the quote unquote voice of the SEC.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. The Big Ten is closing the gap, if not ahead now, for sure.
Finebaum, the NCAA is a disaster. Everybody wants to give Roger Goodell the credit. He's powerful, but he also answers to 32 people. Nobody in college football answers to anybody, which is what I've told you time and time again.
Yeah.
And look what he says about Greg Sankey. Somewhere along the way, I didn't know how Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti could do it, because those right now are the two controlling entities in college football.
100%.
Wait a minute. That can't be true because I've said that and you guys told me I'm an idiot.
Right.
Whoever came up with that shit need to be fired.
Right? Like I've been telling you. What's going to happen to your university and its football team is up to Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti.
Pretty much that simple.
I think that's the reality of it, right? That is.
Yeah, I just don't know how you get away from that. I don't know how people deny that those two are kind of the Batman and Robin of college football right now, and they're controlling it. And I think that ultimately, you got to get on the right side of it ASAP. And that's why I say, like, you know, it's cool. Like SMU might be the best example here. It's cool that you got into the ACC the way you did, right?
Congratulations.
Like that's neat and everything. But the reality of the situation is when the Super League comes along, and there will be some sort of Super League that comes along, can you afford to be in it? Like you're not bringing in enough revenue. And that's where I say, what have we heard about SMU? Well, the donors and all the money, and they're going to be fine. They can cover their costs. Okay. Well, if that's the case, then are those pockets deep enough to fund that program until they start bringing in TV revenue? Or I know, again, rocket science, all these dudes could go out to all their partners when they made all their billions and millions and get some of that money into the athletic department. And when that happens, then you're going to start to see a change in the conversation. Because if there's ever a G5, let's say, who figures out how to do it. Imagine if Boise State, let's say, just as an example, whatever school you want to pick.
Yeah.
Imagine if one of the bigger, more successful G5s went to their donor base and said, hey, this is our situation right now. Like, you've donated this much, but we see this thing on the horizon, probably 3 years out on the horizon, known as a Super League coming to shore here. And we're not going to be able to afford the participation fees that come along with being in that Super League, which means we're not going to make enough money here to make it worth your time. Do you have people in your circles that you could go to that could help bolster our coffers, if you will, that could put us in a stronger position? That conversation has to happen monthly, if not weekly, at every university in college football, but especially at the G5s.
And what's going to happen when the Super League shows up and it's 60 teams?
Yeah.
Look at the list.
Yeah, because it's not going to be like 500 teams, dude.
It's not going to be 75 or 80 teams.
Yeah, like we're gonna be a select group.
I think you're talking about, it's not going to be 32 teams like the NFL. It's going to be, I could see something in the lineup between 65 and maybe 75 or 80 at the most. I
think it's most of the power schools.
Most.
Most of the power schools. There will be some that opt out, that don't want to be involved, like I said earlier in the show. So you're going to have some attrition that way. But I would say probably, I don't know what, 80% of the power schools in the power conferences will participate and be in the Super League. And then I truly, in the G5, think it's only maybe 4 schools that'd be open to it.
I would agree with that, because you look at some of and this is what I always ask about BYU. And again, there are estimated numbers out there that have BYU at $100 million in revenue. Can you sustain a $1 billion enterprise on $100 million in revenue a year?
I don't know. Who replaces Tom Holmoe in all those relationships?
How about that yesterday?
Right? I mean, Tom Holmoe retiring, an absolute legend for BYU, someone who had a massive impact, someone who's led them to, just clearly greener pastures than when he joined BYU in the athletic department. And so it's like, hey, Tom got you to the Big 12 and got you into this great position where you were competing for a Big 12 championship this year until the last 2 weeks of the season, obviously. And now it's a thing where it's like, okay, well, who's going to replace Tom? And does that person have Tom's vision? Does that person align with what Tom was doing? Because if they don't, and BYU's philosophies as an athletic department change, who the hell knows where they're going to be? That's just so uncertain. So that's why I say I think this conversation is somewhere in between what Paul said and what the college football homer wants to tell you, which is Paul said, hey, college football is a disaster right now. College football homer is saying college football has never been better. Yeah. And I think we're somewhere in the middle. And I do think that there needs to be some reform here. There needs to be change. And it was never going to be a thing where, we just stayed in the OG model forever. But I think it's hard to go from what to the new thing on the block. There's always going to be haters. And
as far as BYU goes, Tom Holmoe was as good of a human being. He was an incredible administrator. He was an incredible statesman, if you will, a politician, an operator. You don't replace Tom Holmoe. You move on. You're not going to replace Tom Holmoe.
Right.
And he is going to retire at the end of the school year. And you are going to have to prove day in and day out that you can operate behind the scenes. Because we had a lot of exclusives on this show about the Big 12. and the expansion of the Big 12. And Tom Holmoe was right in the middle of that.
Right.
And the relationships that he brings to bear, the people he knows, the time he has spent, things like the Duke volleyball bull BS, lies, and that investigation, the actions that Tom Holmoe took in the immediate aftermath of that scandal that never was. You look at the way Tom has handled his football team, replacing Bronco Mendenhall, hiring Kalani, replacing, everything that's gone on in basketball, the highs and the lows. I don't know that we'll ever see another administrator at BYU like Tom Holmoe. In fact, I know we will not, because he's one of a kind. And it is a huge loss for BYU that Tom is retiring.
Right.
I'm happy for the dude. The guy has had a long, illustrious career. But this is a really dangerous time at BYU, because I don't know that you find somebody like Tom. I just don't.
I would agree.
I don't know. Yeah, Maury, he's retiring. This is massive for BYU. Massive. Thank you for the $2 tip. Massive for BYU. All right, let's get your thoughts in here. Jabirs, a member for 1 month, says biggest hire in school history is coming. I cannot tell you. I can't say it enough. What Tom Holmoe has meant. They're not in the Big 12 without Tom.
Yeah.
They don't play the Texas Longhorns. Taysom doesn't jump over the Texas Longhorns without Tom Holmoe. They don't run through the Pac-12. They don't thrive, not survive independence. They don't thrive through independence as they did without Tom Holmoe, because they don't have an ESPN relationship without Tom Holmoe. They're just the weird old crazy Mormons and their non-caffeine drinking super underwear guy without Tom Holmoe outselling the story, the history, the tradition. We're not the weird guys who don't drink caffeinated beverages.
Right.
We're a legitimate university. We're not, because you look at the stigma. Well, Sunday play, can't play in our league if you won't play on Sundays. Apparently you can. Right? And we can sit here and we can talk about all the stereotypes of BYU. I really don't give a rat's ass what your religious persuasion is. That's a really good university that puts out really good human beings who do big things in the world. That's an institution of higher learning. That's a university that has embraced equality across racial barriers, where in this state of Utah, trust me, I live here, equality is not front and center. You don't see a whole lot of black men or Latino men. But if you go down to BYU, you do. And Tom Holmoe is a big part of that, because he not only embraced racial equality, he helped it thrive in the athletic department. It's why your quarterback is Jewish, right? It's why Bronco Mendenhall was able to go into the Inland Empire of California and find a Jamal Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Holmoe changed the DNA of BYU, not BYU athletics. He changed the DNA of BYU. And I just hope that people understand how significant a moment in time this is for BYU. You will never replace him. You will never, you won't. But you better find somebody who understands that while being a good human is important, a Temple recommend doesn't need to be a requirement to play big time sports at BYU.
Right.
That the non-member fits in at BYU and in the community and in the student lifestyle. And Tom Holmoe knew that and embraced that. Tom Holmoe, though, made sure that things like the honor code never took a backseat. Again, Jamal Williams, possession by consumption of alcohol. Took a year off from the program. The stain that the Harvey Unga scandal, laid at the feet of BYU athletics, that Tom Holmoe helped that school get over.
Yeah, I mean, when did he start at BYU? I mean, it has to be
1937.
Yeah, I mean, what was his? Let me just look.
I mean,
really
you
quick.
guys think about that Duke volleyball scandal. And if you don't remember, a Duke volleyball player claimed that a fan at BYU, a BYU fan in Provo, during a game dropped an N-bomb on her. And BYU, led by Tom Holmoe, went to the ends of the earth to find evidence that happened. Video evidence, audio evidence, witness testimony, interviewing, talking to everybody. Zero evidence was ever uncovered. Now, the stigma of it, screw you, Don Staley, you hack. But the efforts that were put into making sure that didn't happen, and what certainly would have been hellfire had it happened, Tom Holmoe led that charge. Tom Holmoe wasn't looking for a particular outcome. He was looking for the truth. And I think that mattered.
Yeah.
When did Tommy start?
March 2005.
20 years. 20 years. And the things that guy has been through.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Jay Beers, he understood the importance of the non-member. He understood it. Steve Young would qualify as a huge hire, but I think this is a thing. The athletic director at BYU likely has to be in good standing, a member of the church in good standing.
Yeah, no doubt.
But you also have to be an operator. And I don't know, is Steve Young that guy? Can you go outside of BYU circles to find that? I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. I am.
What I do know is I bet you Tom has a couple of names that he thinks would be proper to follow him or succeed him.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It will be interesting. It's just a matter of. It's just simply a matter of where BYU goes from here, because it's not going to be easy. This is a massive hire for BYU. So there you have it. All right, your thoughts. Is college football healthy? Is college football able to compete with the NFL? Let me just. No, it's not. College football does not compete with the NFL. And if there was any finer example of that, 127 million views set a new all-time high mark for the Super Bowl.
I'm for real.
Featuring fans across all platforms, including TV, digital. Philadelphia's big win in the Bayou peaked at 137.7 million views in the second quarter.
It's ridiculous.
And oh my God, Monty, the worst halftime show. K-Dot. Oh my God.
It's the most watched halftime show ever. Ever.
And it's really not close.
Ever.
133.5 million viewers. Set a new record as the most watched Super Bowl halftime performance in history. And it's really not close. K-Dot, nah. Turns out he did a pretty good show. And I think he did a pretty good show. I made a golf reel on Instagram yesterday, and I used some K-Dot.
Yeah. Yep.
Do you guys understand how much money he made on that? He is dominating Apple Music this week. Dominating.
And I'm playing right into that, bro. Been bumping me some DNA, bumping me some Not Like Us.
It's wild.
Yeah, dude.
Roche, BYU couldn't have a shortage of qualified guys. They're literally religious about their jobs. So that religious about their jobs.
Okay.
I think they probably have candidates, and they know who those candidates are.
Right.
The eye patch, this ought to be rich. I'm sure Holmoe has some recommendations, and I'm sure the team down south has someone already to replace him. I don't know. Again, they're not going to replace him. I'm sure they have somebody they want to be the next athletic director. Nobody replaces him. Brandon Butler, no, it's not. College football is in a scary space. Too many programs are running at a deficit.
Yep.
And you look at the teams, like if you look at the bottom 75 here, the bottom 10 in the top 75 revenue generating athletic departments, according to the USA Today. Let me find a way to get all the banners off the screen. Look at the conference affiliations. Mountain West, Boise State, who's now in the Pac-12. Right? You look at San Diego State, who's now in the Pac-12. Oregon State in the Pac-12. So when we talk about, well, what are we looking at financially? The biggest issue is the profit and loss sheet doesn't matter to TV partners. And the reality is, if we look at the midline in this report, you know what the reality is? Teams like Illinois are in the Big Ten. They're making $148 million. You're worth more because you're in the Big Ten or the SEC. The Dukes and the Florida States are always going to be there, right? But you look at who's the number one revenue generator in the Big 12. Does anybody know who that is off the top of your head? Would it be number 33 in the country? Texas Tech University. $147 million in profit, $619 million valuation. And then it's Kansas, and then it's TCU and Arizona, but it falls off precipitously.
Right.
And I think that is something that I would be paying attention to. And it's the hard part is that there's no question, for instance, Pac-12 versus Mountain West. There's no question that the money that's walking out of the Mountain West is significant. But it's not bearing fruit as far as TV guys go. And if there was ever any better example of I am always right and you're always stupid.
It's quite simple, so I don't know why motherfuckers be overcomplicating.
I'm kidding. No TV executive cares how much money you made last year. No TV executive cares what you're worth because you're not Notre Dame, because you're not Ohio State. Ohio State checks a box. Notre Dame checks a box. San Diego State. Does that check a box for a TV executive? It doesn't.
We may have to go short in a couple cases.
Right? So this is the world we live in, where the ACC can have one of the poorest P4 programs in SMU, who made $86 million last year.
Like,
that's wild. And not only they may have made that, but can you imagine how much money they're having to pay out from collectives, from fundraising, sponsors?
yeah, I mean, it's great you made that money, but what should you be making? Like,
$86 million isn't making money.
Yeah, I mean, you did a deal with the ACC where you're not bringing in revenue from the conference, and so you're having to cover that gap. And look, I understand why you did the deal. For if you're SMU, I get it, but ultimately, I'm just telling you, man, the expense sheet's only going up. You know, like, you think it's expensive now for them to be in the ACC. Again, what are they going to be a Super League team?
And if you look at the Big 12 and the Big 10. Obviously, the 2025 number is going to be significantly different because anybody that left the Pac-12, the exiting 10 members, the drawdown from the fees that they lost in the Comcast repayment, and
yes,
they're hemorrhaging money on that stuff. So just a very interesting mix. It is a very interesting mix, and I think it is. I do think college football is not dying.
No,
it is not.
But it needs to get healthier.
It's not healthy.
Yeah.
It's not healthy. Why is Utah not higher? Well, I think it's exactly what I just said.
Yeah. I think it's pretty straightforward.
I think Utah's in the mid 40s somewhere. Interesting that UCLA made $105 million on a 472 valuation. Utah is 56th, $126 million in revenue, $468 million in evaluation. Colorado, 55th, $127 million, 470. I mean, you look at the drag on the exiting 10 members of the Pac-12, and it is just a ball buster.
Right.
It's a ball buster.
It's a lot.
And again, I think these numbers get better the further away from the Pac-12 meltdown you get. So we'll see. Let's get your comments in here. As always, presented by our good friends at Prize Picks. Prize Picks, America's favorite daily fantasy app. Tens of millions of you are on Prize Picks playing with us. The first thing you need to do is hit the like button here on YouTube. If you are watching on any of our other platforms, Spotify, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, come on over, bud.
Yeah.
Find us on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Give us a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. And then understand my greatness, okay? Because as I am and wanting to say on a daily basis, pimps are going to pimp, right?
Such as in like. Yeah,
and stuff.
Right.
I think we all recognize that.
Because shit's going good.
I would first like to ask Devin Booker why you hate me. I buy your shoes. I forearm strengthen thinking about your jumper. He had a 28.5 point number last night. And he put up 28. Why, Dev? Why? Is it because my last name's not Kardashian and I don't have a big fake rack? Is that what it is? It because I don't twerk on the pole? Is that why you couldn't get me just one more point? Maybe make a single three-pointer. You pray. But I would like to say thank you to Prize Picks for having a flex play mode where I only need 2 of 3 to win, because my guy, Carl Anthony Towns, did you see my guy Cat last night?
Yeah, dude, balled out.
Going up against thine Pacers with no center. My dude last night had a 38.5 point number. Okay, you might say that's a lot. Well, considering he had 40 points, so 38.5 points, rebounds, and assists.
Dude, he had a 40-piece nugget.
No, shut up. I hate that so much. He 38.5 points. He put up 57. And because I am a degenerate loser.
Right. Loser.
I went to the other side of thine ledger in that game because we know that the Sixers don't play defense. Scotty Barnes on a 26.5 points, rebounds, and assists last night. 33 points, 10 boards, 3 dimes. 46.
Bless up.
Winning. Because that's how you win on Prize Picks. All it is more or less. Devin Booker last night, 28.5 points, more or points, rebounds, and assists, more or less. I went more. I got a knuckle deep because he only came up with 28. Right?
Stay hard.
A knuckle deep.
You got a knuckle deep.
It was painful too. But thankfully I played a flex, which means I only need 2 or 3 to win.
Yeah, flex up, you know?
Carl Anthony Towns came through. Scotty Barnes came through. I won.
Yeah.
Life is good. It's that
I've
simple.
been a rich man and I have been a poor man, and I choose rich every fucking time.
That's right. Pay me.
Just saying, flex boy.
I'm pushing $1,000 in my Prize Picks account.
A band.
Right now. Life is good. It's super easy. Download the Prize Picks app. Use the promo code Monty, MONTY Monty. You deposit $5. They'll give you 50 more when you open up a new Prize Picks account using the promo code Monty. All right, let's get your thoughts in here. Roche, when you piss money, you can hand out money like it's piss.
Wow. Thank you, dude.
The showers are golden in North Dallas.
Man, that analysis was incredible, dude.
Wow. I mean, I don't.
I mean, I'm blown. Do you want to host the show for me? I'm blown away by that, dude. Come on.
I am in awe. Make sure you hit the like button on top of that. Yes, Jeremiah Champion. Hit the like button. It's snowing and I'm over it. It's snowing here in Utah.
And it was beautiful, dry, fluffy snow.
Yeah, Utah. Went to golf last night. Freezing cold.
Yeah.
18 degrees. Icy roads. Woke up this morning, snow-covered ground. But the funny thing is, Monty, Paris Climate Accord's a piece of crap. Let me just point a few things out for you, Donnie. You have a deal. I live in Utah, where we're supposed to, and this is
allegedly.
Allegedly. It snows in Utah.
With all due respect.
Do you guys understand that tomorrow is, according to the forecast at AccuWeather, the last sub-40 day of the year? Did I mention it's February? That would be February 13th. You mean we haven't even gotten to Valentine's Day yet? And the forecast at AccuWeather says we won't be below 40 degrees again for the rest of the year. Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting. We're supposed to be 38 tomorrow. And then 42, 44, 42, 45. And it just goes up from there. Climate change. Climate change, climate schmange. Mange schmange.
Yeah, who cares?
Fuck them.
Yeah.
Jay Ross, maybe Dak knows the script next year.
We'll
Maybe he
get
does.
to Dak today.
Oh, we will.
We will get to Dak today.
Lopes fan Gabe. Stud. Like button casuals.
How many likes do we have?
Not enough.
Come on, hit the like button.
We are at 1,000 views and 48 likes. Please hit the like button if you have not. The stadium guy, James.
Okay, here we
Hey
go.
guys, I was just at Utah's IPF. Full video coming. I mean,
we coming.
Like your mom. There's a full IPF video coming from Snapdragon Rose Bowl Stadium in Los Angeles. And you just wait till I show you the quality of the rollers.
We know these guys are going to come
at AM PM
a lot.
The AM PM roller, and I scanned it for fecal matter, and frankly, there was only 6 parts per million, so I'm all in. James does video reviews, and Jake was telling me. Jake was telling me that James tweeted at him.
Yeah.
From Snapdragon Stadium.
No, I mean, James's video reviews are cool with stadiums, but
no, they're not.
Yeah, you know.
I want the book on pedophilia in the priesthood that James is working on. See, James is a multifaceted, multi-talented, deep thinker.
Can you do something for me?
His thoughts on, the priesthood, they're valid. Now, I don't know if you're going around to all these stadiums and doing reviews because that's where the pedophilia takes place. That could be.
That's fucking interesting, man.
James, you and your stadium reviews and the IPFs, and James is famous for saying that Utah should block the view of the mountains and put an IPF on top of the upper deck at Rice Eccles.
Pause, bro. Pause.
And the indoor practice in IPF indoor practice facility.
Right.
He said they should put the IPF on top of the upper deck to block the mountain views at Utah.
Yeah.
That's one thing you could do. You could do that.
Right.
I mean, I don't recommend it. The Super League will happen because ESPN and Fox want it, and it will make more money. I would think so. And where there's money, it's chasm, Monty, schism, fissure,
and stuff.
The iPatch says a Super League by 2028 and a 16-team playoff. You don't need both. Seth Hat maker. So is it a fedora? Or what are we talking about here?
I mean, we need answers, dude.
I say Super League is closer to 2030. I think that's why these media deals are going to 2032. Could be. Seth the Hat Maker also says, don't you like the way I throw in the? Seth the Hat Maker says P4 supposedly created their own LLC outside of the NCAA. They could not do that without it being public knowledge. LLCs are all in the public database. And trust me, Ross Snellinger does not sleep. We would know. Nick, semi-conscious, Kirk, and stuff. As long as college football puts a very good product on the field, college football will be fine. So are they putting...
Yeah, I just think a lot of weeks there's not a lot of good product on the field.
Samarikov. Okay.
Smirnoff?
Ameritrade. Kealani L. The median age of the college football TV audience is now 58. Is that true? Third oldest for major U.S. sports. Median age for United States as a whole, 38 and a half. Could be. Jay McClanahan.
Jay.
What a dick. But Arizona State.
He's kidding. Don't lose your mind. Monty was just kidding.
Monty, why are you attacking James in the IPF?
Bro, he was kidding. Gosh.
And with all due respect,
Arizona State is really low, but made a huge dent in getting into the college football playoff.
I knew today would be shitty.
I don't disagree with that. Kealani. So it's just old, retired dudes with nothing better to do on fall Saturdays watching multiple games.
Facts.
I don't know if that's true. I think the TV audience is really important.
It's game by game, bro.
But I think you also have to understand that we're turning over generations right now. The golden generation is going away. Yeah,
did you guys see that millennials are the first generation to not be more well off than the generation behind them? Apparently. That study came out allegedly.
Because you guys are lazy and you no. I'd rather be single than go and talk to a woman. And you wonder why you have not repopulated the earth. I think millennials have one of the most difficult hills to climb. And I'm very curious, what's the generation after millennials?
Gen Z.
Yeah, them jerkies. Do Gen Zs buy houses? Do they? Because they're not buying cars, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
The economy, especially where it's going right now, now we've seen in the first 6 weeks of the year, inflation skyrocketing again, and like we're seeing
egg shortages, gas prices.
Did you see the gas prices, dude?
What are they up to now? I haven't seen the most recent number.
414 in California. I think the national average is 340 something now. 344. I think it's just very challenging. And I think one of the issues for college football is how many Gen Zers are going to college? How many Gen Ys or Alpha or Omega or whatever they're called are going to college? Now, I think we're starting to see the arc swing back to an education's really important. Millennials didn't go to college in mass numbers. So I think it's going to be very interesting. Unless you are a fan of one of those top teams, why watch the playoff every year?
Because it's some of the most compelling sports content you have on TV.
Yeah, it's great football.
Yeah.
One of these teams will win every year because they play the best players. Well, but why isn't Baylor? And Baylor's a really good example of this, G. Lee. We talked about it yesterday.
Yeah.
Baylor's not all in to win every single game they play, or Dave Aranda wouldn't be your head coach. As simple as that. And when you look at the Big 12, the issue is the Big 12 philosophically is fractured. Not everybody in the Big 12 hits the like button like you just did.
Right.
Not everybody in the Big 12 is doing everything they can do to win football games and play for a championship. And they're not. That's the biggest issue. Kealani says Finebaum's a goof. Okay. UW fan Jim, where is UNLV on this list? They're not in the top 75. I can tell you that. They're not. Top 10 teams pay the best players. Why is that a problem? Why is that a problem? The truth is, the top 10 teams all spend the exact same money on players that you do.
And again, what you're just skipping over, with all due respect, is that the best players create the best football environments. The game is great because you have the best quarterback and the best safety playing each other. Like, the game is great because you have the best coaches going up against each other, and legacies are on the line.
We have a system where you have to opt into revenue sharing at $20.5 million in the player pot. But it's very simple. Any P4, certainly, and I don't know of many G5s who can compete at that level, but any P4, including Baylor, can NIL or partner with any player and give them a valuation and say, we're going to guarantee you that money. But you know what the difference is? Ohio State comes through.
Right.
Because Ohio State is a money-making operation. Baylor is not. Baylor's not an institution that's like, well, you know, we need a better quarterback. We need a better head coach. Fire the head coach. We're not winning. Go get me the best available head coach. Right? That's not who Baylor is. We're going to keep good old Dave Aranda. We don't want to pay a buyout. Okay. At Oak State, we're going to keep the coach and clip his nuts off by cutting his salary. Okay. Is that all in? It's not. Don't cry poor to me, or don't bitch about Ohio State and Michigan and Notre Dame and Texas paying players, because your university will not.
And your university refuses to fire Mr. Clean.
It's as simple as that. Are you willing to do everything you need to do to win games?
And in
the
Baylor's
answer
case is hell no.
And in Stillwater, no. You have all the resources you need at Oklahoma State. And you're getting boat raced by Oklahoma.
Hell no.
You're getting boat raced by Oklahoma. You arguably have more resources than they do.
Yeah.
They have an IPF on top of their upper deck.
Yeah.
At Boone Pickens. They've got the stadium. They've got the fan base. They've got but they don't use it. This is with all due respect, G. Lee, this is a tired ass argument. It
just is.
I'm telling you, your university, how interesting is it to watch the same team win every year? Well, the same team doesn't win every year.
And if I'd have to go back and look, but if memory serves, this past college football playoff was one of the most watched we had in the last 7 years, I think, or something like that.
Because it's diverse. It's got 12 teams. But the issue is that's nothing to do with the college football playoff. You're upset and you're bored because Baylor doesn't compete in football.
Yeah.
And I just continue to ask. Like Oak State James, I think, was the guy that was like, oh, Dave Aranda turned it around in the second half. Got to keep him. Against the worst teams in the Big 12, he turned it around. I can't help you if you're not willing to help yourself. Why did West Virginia fire Neil Brown? He didn't have a terrible season because he didn't have a good season. Why do you think Kyle Whittingham completely overhauled his offense? Why do you think Joey Maguire had the single greatest portal season? And I'm not exaggerating. Joey Maguire just had the single greatest portal season we've ever seen.
Yeah, and I feel like that's starting to get out now. People are starting to write articles and stuff about it.
I've been telling you that for a month.
Yeah.
The greatest portal season we've ever seen, because he's all in to win. Now, will he? I have no idea. Will he zero blitz and Laramie again? Probably. But I'm telling you, he's doing what you have to do to win. And you don't have to like that. That's the reality, though. Baylor gets in and does nothing. Personally, I can't wait. Well, David Floyd, what school is valued the most in the Big 12? None. It's Texas Tech. Oh, I already showed you guys that. Yeah. Texas Tech. I just think it's
I don't disagree. Baylor fans bored because Baylor isn't relevant.
Yeah, Boyd Lake, sad to see Holmoe retire. He's done a great job for BYU. Yes, he has.
20-year run. Legendary.
Yes, he has. Why is Utah not higher? I already answered that one. Steven Shearer.
Hey, Steven Shearer and stuff,
She rear-ended me. Stephen Shearer.
Yes.
SEC and Big Ten had top brands left. Only play each other and have its own playoff, and let's be done with it. I would be more entertained by smaller team playoffs, not $20 million payrolls. Well,
but see, again, the assertion, dude, the assertion that, okay, see, this is even more tired than G. Lee's take. Bro, the assertion that hey, only the teams who spend $20 million on their payroll compete, and somehow that's a crime in college football, it's just so ridiculous because that shows a lack of understanding of the choices that were made with revenue sharing. Everybody had the opportunity to opt in. But notice everybody didn't opt in. And why is that? Because everybody for the last 30 years, haven't been prioritizing winning. Right? This is the problem. This is precisely what we're saying, is that these Big 12 teams, and really the ACC as well, I would point out, are not all in to win football games, and they haven't been for 20 years. And now we're going to cry about Ohio State and Texas and all these big boy teams going out and benefiting from the grind they've been on. Like, it shouldn't be a thing where we turn these guys into villains. Like, stop, bro.
Fix my 100,000 subscriber plaque, please.
Honestly.
Yeah, you got to stop with the...
Like, these guys are not villains, bro.
This is what we do in this country. We vilify and demonize the rich.
Yeah.
We vilify the people who do it right, earn money, and we're doing the same thing in college sports. Oak State James spent $10 to call out Ferris Khan.
Okay, what's he got for us? Wow. Nice.
Ferris, I went to high school with Matt Patricia's. He's one guy. He's big boned. It's a glandular issue.
First of all, I'd like to point out he said Matt Patricia's as if there was a thing after that.
No, it's one. No, what he's calling Matt Patricia fat because there's multiple plural.
Okay.
You're not nice, James. There have been far worse NFL coaches than Matt. Really? I have never seen one. He knows way more about football than you do. I don't think he does. He is a better DC. Well, remember, he was an offensive coordinator than head coach. You just make this so easy.
He's got no class.
He's also a class act. Well, why call him fat? That's what I don't. You think I don't know what you're doing with the plurality here, James?
Fat.
That he's so fat, there's multiple Matt Patricias. You think I don't see that? That's not nice. It's a glandular issue.
Dude, oh, wow. He's just big boned. It's all about his frame, you know. The dispersion of fat is just in one spot.
It's a gallbladder thing.
Yeah, you know.
That's not nice.
And he's worried about losing his vision so he doesn't go on Ozempic.
There are certain teams, maybe 10 to 15, pay to play. Well, I think it needs to be far more than 10 to 15. Oh, buck nuts! Oh!
Whatever.
Bro, it's Wednesday and it feels like next Tuesday. You know, Nick D. Oh,
Nick D.
Chris, well, that's what happens when you lose your top two programs and replace them with former G5 schools. Well, I would agree with that.
Well,
I would agree with that. Eric Wasakowski. Anyway, in 5 years, we could see Maryland finally win the Big Ten. That's never going to happen.
That's the best you ever say, bro. It's Maryland winning the Big Ten.
Oak State James, you can say whatever you want about me. Don't talk smack about Matt Patricia. Okay? My guy.
Wait, is this a real comment right here? Are you really pissed about Matt's Patricia?
Dude, I'm a Kansas City Chiefs fan. Man, that fat ass.
I'm being serious. Are you really upset about the Matt Patricia take?
Stop it. G. Lee, no, I love Tech or any other team in the Big 12. Okay.
Because again, Baylor's not good, so you're not really feeling that allegiance.
The D. Nick the D. Joe, I've said since 2014 when the college football playoff was inducted. I don't see. So inducted, what I had meant to say, introduced. Here, let me fix that for you. When the college football playoff was forced down our throats by Greg Sankey, that the G5 or the G6 schools should have their own national championship. It's clear they can't compete with the top schools.
Yeah.
They cannot. They cannot. Which is fine. UW fan Jim, I'm a college football fan. I might only bleed purple and gold, but I love all college football. Me too. Chris E. Top schools have more money to spend. The Big 12 schools can't compete with the Big 10 or SEC revenue. Tell us which Big 12 schools can afford Ohio State's roster. You're not all in to win.
Yeah.
That's why. You really said my guy, Matt Patricia, after you called him fat, which is amazing.
And then said, we're talking smack about him.
Red Buckeye. With a great profile pic.
Oh, dear.
Ferris is on every podcast talking about Ohio State nonstop. He's obsessed with the Buckeyes. He's a bobblehead guru.
Oh, dear. Oh, my.
But he does live in Carlsbad, and I don't. And TaylorMade. I was talking to a guy at TaylorMade the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Well, next time you're in Carlsbad, come on by. Finebaum crying the sky is falling because the SEC hasn't made the title game 2 straight years, yet this was the most entertaining season yet. There could be some of that. Right? I mean, it is.
He always finds a way to be in the middle of it.
He does. Rip YT silver play button. Yeah, what are you doing?
Yeah, it was my bad, dude. I got a little fired up. Sorry.
Ooh, fired up.
Yeah.
Fired up. All right, couple more. It's auto-corrected me. I didn't put the S on it.
Bro,
well, you did.
Dude.
James, and this is, are we going to go back to what you said about your wife now? Dude, if you take the IPF from Texas and you drop it in the middle of the old Silver Dome parking lot in Detroit, and then you build a new stadium on top of it, then maybe Matt Patricia's fat ass would fit inside the stadium.
My fucking ass.
I doubt it. Now understand, Matt Patricia's my guy. Him and I cannot tell you how many
who's
times.
Matt Patricia? I don't know who
Matt Patricia's.
Thank you.
Matt Patricia's and I can't tell you how many times he stole hot dogs right out of my hands. In fact, there was this one time at Costco, he took it right off of my succulent lips.
Mm-hmm. This is a tasty burger.
But he's my guy, so I'm not going to take his glizzy back from him. I mean, I would glizzy up with him. Anyway, you get my point. I think we should build an IPF on top of the Marriott Center in Provo, and then Matt Patricia could fit inside, and he's going to eat all the cougar tails.
Macaque.
The donuts and the hose. I think that's verbatim. G. Lee, you were not kidding about Aranda's contract. They don't want to buy him out. They don't.
No.
Which tells me you don't want to win.
Again, you don't get to have it both ways. You don't get to skip buying dude out for being an average-ass football coach and then cry when you don't win football games.
Yeah. Smash the numbers. Ferris Khan. What a... He hates Ohio State. Did you only move to California because Jim Harbaugh did?
Bruh.
College football is moving away from a socialist system.
Okay, here, see, dude, bro.
Okay, everybody gets health insurance in college football. Okay? We're going to lower the Fed rate so that Cheat Again can afford more cheeseburgers for the kids. I mean, Jimmy was a socialist. And
Cashless.
we ran his ass out of Ann Arbor because we didn't want him anymore. But he had a good idea to buy cheeseburgers for all, right?
So I said, yeah.
I guess that bothers
Socialist
Americans
system.
posting here. Look, we don't like rich people. The Architect. There is a super league. People just don't want to admit it. It's the SEC and the Big Ten. Basically, the AFC and the NFC. Everyone else is lucky to have a seat at the table. Lucky. I don't know about that. James, go to word timeout. Exactly right. Your grammar's a real problem this morning, James. Eric Wasikowski, who the hell are these cheese dicks that think Matt Patricia is a good coach?
Oh, dude, that's funny.
Y'all, you have really grown on me. Not literally.
Stay home.
Just, I've come to appreciate you, Eric, with your cheese dick comments. Like, yes. You'll remember the 18 and 20 Lions? No.
Yeah,
We've purged that from our memory.
First team all Matt Patricia's.
Amazing offensive coordinator, Matt Patricia. Monty, he's a defensive guy, not when he works for the Patriots.
You fucking donkey.
Remember, he was an offensive. What a stupid. Wow.
Matt Patricia's is got to be the most overrated coordinator there's been.
I'm going to bring back Matt Patricia's, and I know he's a defensive genius, but we're going to make him an offensive coordinator.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that.
Because we're on to the Jets. I can't believe that in mid-February, Michigan is on top of the big in basketball. Area 51, 50, and number 1 is about to be introduced to the country. Wow, that's...
Yeah, we're focused on the Jets today.
Mm-hmm. Mile High Phil. See, you may not bring in the big dollars, but Deon, D-E-O-N.
Bud, his name is not D-E-O-N. How do you mess this up as a Colorado
fan? I can't put an I in there because we don't do DEI in this country.
This is Matt Patricia's
I'm not putting
2.0. You just misspelled Buddy's name 10 ways to Sunday.
We're not doing DEI hire.
Monty, it was autocorrect. I don't care.
Deon was a DEI hire, so I can't put the I in Deon.
Did autocorrect pass the grammar check before you hit send on the comment?
We're going to hell. Make sure you hit the like button on the way down. Deon can convince kids to come due to NFL caliber coaching staff and convince them the bag will come later. I don't disagree with that at all, actually. I think that's a great point. I do, seriously. Today feels especially unhinged. It really does. Jacob Steinecker. He's got huge logs.
See, now again, we have to review. See, again, you guys are really struggling with your spelling today. It's M-O-N-T-Y. Right? Or if you want to be a red ass, it's M-O-N-N-Y.
Or M-O-N-E-Y.
Right. That's,
but Monty, Michigan can win unless they cheat. Well, Oh, God. No, I'm not doing it. Penn State Sports Talk. All right, let's see if this has a happy ending on it.
Please, dude. Please.
Happy ending valley. They call it Beaver Stadium for a reason.
Bro, they ran Shower Olympics, and you want us to not say whatever
Sandusky State. Huge fan of the show. Oh, God.
But so this is like, hold on. This is like when someone says, let me be honest. And then they proceed to lie to you, or they say, I don't hate this, but like, that's the caveat. I love the show, but.
Happy Ending Valley is an egregious comment. Well, no, sexually assaulting children for generations in showers at Penn State, where the head football coach, who is one of the biggest frauds and one of the great destroyers of men, Joe Paterno, what a piece of crap that guy is, only outdone by Jerry Sandusky. No, that's egregious. That's egregious.
And then forgetting about it and throwing it under the rug.
And Penn State should not have a football program.
That's egregious.
That's egregious that they have a football program. It's disgusting. And then you hire a guy, a piece of shit like James Franklin, who everywhere he's been has had sexual assault allegations.
Including at Penn State.
That's egregious. Should I hold the door for you, or?
Good luck.
Patricia is no Nathaniel Hackett, but he'll do.
Right, yeah, right? Nathaniel can't hack it.
Exactly. Giggity. Have you seen Matt Patricia lately? The guy may be going blind soon after hitting the Ozempic. Dude. Is that true? Stop it. Stop. Now I got to know. Has Matt Patricia lost weight?
Okay, see, now, okay, let's get on Google here.
James, should I put the apostrophe yes on it when I'm searching for Matt Patricia? Or has he lost so much weight that there's no more?
Dude, he did.
What do you mean?
Matt Patricia lost a lot of weight, bro.
Did he really?
He did. I did not know this. If you just do a Google image search,
Google image,
bro, dude lost a lot of weight. Like, if you just type in do Matt Patricia Ozempic, you'll see all the other pictures come up.
Are you serious? And it's a trending. Oh my God.
Yeah, bro. Dude, I did not know this was a thing, bro. Such as in like,
wow.
Okay,
here is the that's the after picture. Where's Matt Patricia fat? And let me see if I can find a Detroit Lions picture of fat Matt Patricia.
Bro.
What's the worst picture I can find of Matt Patricia?
Stop.
It's got to be with the shaggy beard.
I think it's with the Patriots.
Is it?
I think so.
Oh, this one. He looks fat in this one. Oh, he's a juicy porky. I'm a bad person. I just want you to know I'm a terrible person. I freely admit it. I don't.
Bro,
try
I
to
did
hide
not
it.
know that Matt was an Ozempic guy.
I had no idea Matt was an Ozempic guy.
Yeah, this is crazy. This is a development.
All right, so here's Chubbs McGahee. That is a big Matt Patricia.
This is during the infamous 18-20 run that dude was referencing in the comments.
Yeah, where he didn't coordinate anything.
Yeah.
There's Matt Patricia now.
Dude, he's lost weight.
Bro.
Like, that's a lot of lost weight.
See, you're on the shot, right? You're on the shot. Tell me you're not on the shot.
I mean,
does he ever get another shot? Like that I'm interested in. If Ohio State does hire him, and I think they should, that would be very interesting to see what happens. Would you hire Matt Patricia to be the defensive coordinator at Ohio State? I would. Why wouldn't I?
Dude's nickname on Reddit. There's a whole Reddit feed about this.
Don't do it.
They're calling him Fatty P. That's apparently his nickname.
Wow.
That's terrible, bro. Dude,
he was a huge
terrible,
human being.
Bro.
He was a huge human being. Don't worry, Jakey Two Shakes. I'll defend you.
DJ is back.
At least you put out effort. The rest of your thimble-hung generation doesn't shake it at all.
Well,
I think that's very true. And we've talked about this. If you guys are new to the show, and I know we have
this is like a sidebar conversation going on.
I know we have a ton of new listeners on this show. Hit the like button, please.
Yeah.
Millennials, I think, have a lot of hurdles.
Mm-hmm.
And we've talked about this repeatedly. Millennials aren't buying houses. They're not buying cars. They're not investing in retirement. They're paying exorbitant rents. And they eat out all the time because they're too lazy to cook, or, call me crazy, have sex and have kids and make families because they don't want to date.
Uh-huh.
Millennials, and I think we even did this story on the show, millennials admittedly are unhappy in their relationships because they settled because they didn't want to continue to look for an upgrade in their spouse.
Yeah, and I think there's two sections within the millennial generation that you have to be aware of. So there is the older portion of the millennial generation that is currently 35 to 40. That section of my generation did go to college, is saddled with debt, and is unable to get out of the current financial trap they find themselves in because of current market conditions. And then, to your point, what you were just saying, there is the younger the younger portion of the whole generation, which is where I'm at, where, yeah, most of us, are lazy, live in our parents' basement, aren't doing a whole lot with ourselves. Like that's pervasive through the 30 to 35-year-old right now.
Yep. Totally agree. Saban ruined the Dolphins. How'd that work out? I love that now pedophile guy is like, oh, we support a program that, abused children for decades. And Jim Knowles is a better coordinator than Matt Patricia. First, tell me you don't know anything about football without telling me you don't know anything about football, because Matt Patricia does one thing very well. He eats food. Wait, that came up wrong. I meant to say Matt Patricia does one thing very well. He coordinates defenses.
Yeah.
Matt Patricia is not an offensive coordinator. Clearly wasn't a good head coach. Matt Patricia is an elite defensive coordinator. And anyone who thinks that Matt Patricia is a bad defensive coordinator, such as in like Matt ruined the Detroit Lions, just go back and polish your trophies of Joe Paterno and Jerry Sandusky.
Yeah.
You enjoy that. You go on. Support the pedophilia that happens at Happy Ending Valley. Please. You know. Dev MC. Hey, Minty, the pedo priests are out today. James needs to go to work on that book quick.
Yeah,
James.
quick, dude.
Oak
Can
State
we
James.
get a first edition copy?
There you go. Chris E. He was on Nightcap and looked slimmed down at Super Bowl week show. He looked great. He said he is taking a break from football and trying to get more into commentator role. And he interviewed, but he interviewed.
This whole Ozempic thing with Matt, and I hadn't seen anything about him at the Super Bowl. So it's great to see that he's around, and doing interviews and trying to beef up that part of his career.
But why, if you're Matt Patricia and you're taking a break from football, are you interviewing with Ohio State?
Because it's a great job.
Something to think about. Just something to think about.
Yeah.
It is a great job. It is the premier job for defensive coordinators in football right now. I mean, the last guy just came in and won a national championship by spending money.
And then went to the NFL.
No.
Or Chip went to the NFL.
Chip went to the
dude
NFL.
went to Penn State. Yeah, Jim Knowles.
Ross Dellinger.
Oh, boy.
This is going to be interesting.
Oh, boy.
We talked about this at length. And I know and it's probably going to be Wasikowski.
Yeah.
I would assume.
Here we go.
Who's gonna drop the first DEI bomb in relation to this breaking news from Ross Dellinger? We kind of thought this would happen. The Department of Education has officially rescinded the NIL-related Title IX guidance that would have put dozens of schools' rev share plans in violation. Title IX quote from the Department of Education, which I thought we were eliminating that, because they needed to boost Dogecoin. Title IX says nothing about how revenue-generating athletic programs should allocate compensation among student athletes. And I think that this is exactly the right thing to do.
Mm.
I think Title IX is remarkably important when it comes to, we have a sexual assault problem in this country. Speaking of Penn State, we do. And I think Title IX for equality, and it is vital. But when it comes to revenue generation, I agree with this 100%. You should not have to pay your football players and your softball players or your track athletes or your lacrosse players on par. That doesn't make sense. If we are talking about revenue generating sports, it's football and basketball, stick and ball sports because they have a TV contract. I think golf more and more is coming into that space. But right now, it's football and basketball. I should not have to pay the volleyball team the way I pay the football team. That makes sense to me. At some point, and I know this is crazy, but at some point, we're going to have to come to a common sense about what we're doing in college revenue. Because you can't just keep handing out free checks because Title IX told you to. Much like the Constitution, Title IX never told you to hand out checks. Title IX has never said, well, you got a revenue share equally. Never said that. And I think when you look at where we are with these NIL settlements and the House litigation, and it hasn't been settled because there's so many gray areas where there's no laws, rules, or regulations that are overseeing the way we distribute revenue in college athletics, nor should there be. Plain and simple. If you want to make more money and you are in a non-revenue generating sport, you better create a brand. And I don't think that is discriminatory. I don't think that is unfair. Football and basketball make money. Swimming does not. Does that mean swimming should be eliminated? No, it doesn't. What that means is you better be selling banners on the chain link fence in right field like you did in Little League. You better be out revenue generating. You better be out driving branding partnerships. If you are a big time female, specifically female college athlete, you better be out doing NIL deals, because that's how you're going to get paid, because you're not going to get a share of the revenue that you're not generating. And I don't think it's wrong to say that. I don't think it's offensive to say that. I don't think that I'm some terrible human being because I believe that football and basketball make the lion's share of the money. And the athletes who do that, female or otherwise, should get the lion's share of the revenue. I don't think that's controversial in any way, shape, or form.
No, I don't think it is either. I think, the hard part is that, there's always going to be someone who makes the argument that, hey, football has more opportunity than we do to make money. And there's a whole, again, you can go down the rabbit hole. I just think that, unfortunately, the situation is the situation. I mean, I can't change the fact that football pays for essentially, all of your athletic department most years, and then basketball is kind of where you start profiting. Like we know that, and it's unfortunate, but yeah, that's the current situation. So, when it comes to money, whoever's putting the investment or whoever's taking the risk typically makes the most, and that's going to be the school. And then the person making the second most is the one who contributed the most. So to me, it's like, I just don't know how you get around that.
Yeah, I agree, Gumby. You got to acknowledge how the toast is buttered.
Yeah, you do.
Because I think when you look across college athletics, there are certainly programs in this country that make money that don't play basketball and football. Whether it is golf, track and field, volleyball makes money at schools. I think you have to acknowledge that. But that doesn't mean you have to give them more money. They should get a share of the revenue they generate. That doesn't mean they should get football money. That doesn't mean they should get basketball money. That doesn't mean lacrosse should get volleyball money, for instance. It doesn't mean that.
Yeah.
So I think it's a difficult conversation. Acu Ninja Gal. I could care less what Matt Patricia puts in his mouth, just like I could care less what Penn State wants to put in theirs. Okay. Jim Knowles made that raise with his. I think Jim Knowles earned the money he got. Ohio State didn't want to pay him. Penn State did. Penn State overpaid for him.
Pedo State.
Or excuse me. Pedophilia U overpaid for him.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. I don't even, again, I think that's what this country's built on. And we tend to hate that when it doesn't go in our favor. Jay McClanahan, there needs to be more merit pay by how someone does on the field. I think West Virginia is striving to do that in the next few years. We'll find out. Right?
Yeah, we'll see.
Mike Smith, football pays for parts and maintenance for Georgia's SRT
100%,
program.
dude. 100%.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. The Natural says, damn. Exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right. All right. Hour number 2 of the Monty Show is always presented by the Advocates at theadvocates.com. I tell you every day, when it's snowing like it is right now, or when it's icy, or if you get hurt at work, please do not trust your insurance companies. If we have learned nothing from the recent outbreak of hurricanes and fires, where insurance companies said, well, we can't pay for that flood damage because it was a hurricane. Right? They're not, well, the hurricane brought the floods. Yeah, we think it's about wind and hurricanes. Or, well, yeah, we don't want to pay for fires, so we're not going to pay for the fire. Your insurance companies don't want to pay you. When you get in an accident and some guy rear ends you, the insurance company is trying to find ways not to pay you. His or yours. They're trying to find a way not to pay you. You need somebody who knows how to fight that fight. That's the Advocates at theadvocates.com. When you get hurt at work and your boss is like, it's okay, little buddy, we're going to have a job for you and we'll have pay for you. And then they don't. You need somebody who's navigated that fight in the past. That's the Advocates. And the best part is you never reach into your pocket to pay the Advocates, because you don't pay the Advocates unless and until they win your case. Make sure that you get to theadvocates.com. You can chat with an injury attorney 24/7, 365, and it won't cost you a dime to get clear, risk-free advice at theadvocates.com. All right, let's switch gears Can we talk about the Dallas Cowboys for a minute? I'm not a smart man. I think you can ask anybody, the Penn State fan, whatever his name is, the justifier of pedophilia.
Right.
We've heard a lot of crazy things from Jerry Jones.
There's a very low percentage of this that is smiles and glory holes. Very low percentage.
Now that's craziness, right? But is it as crazy as Dak Prescott?
I mean, I feel like we compete with the Eagles and beat them for the most part when we played them. I don't want to say check the record when they're the guys holding the trophy right now. So credit to them. They've earned it and they deserved it by all means. But, yeah, very close, especially even watch the NFC game, the NFC Championship. And those two teams that we battle against each and every year a couple of times. And as I said, feel confident about we've gotten the better part each and every time. To see them, to see it in such a dominating fashion, credit to them. It's our turn and it's on us.
What?
It's not your turn.
What?
You're not close to the Eagles. You don't have a defensive line. You don't have a secondary. You don't have an offensive line, and you don't have wide receivers. Other than that, you're really close to the Eagles.
I want to make sure I understand what you just said. You just said that you're close to not only the Eagles, but that other team you didn't want to reference, the Washington Commanders, who were way better than you were this year. Like, you're not close to these two teams. And I love when guys do this. Oh, well, Dak, when do you think you guys are going to turn it around? When are the Cowboys going to, make strides? Or how do the Cowboys stack up to the current competition in the NFC East? Oh, well, we're really close. Okay. Well, everyone on Twitter initially was like, oh, well, it's Dak. What else would he say? Oh, I don't know. You could say something like, yeah, the Eagles just won the Super Bowl. They had a hell of a year. Obviously, what Jaden Daniels and company are doing in Washington, they're obviously making progress. But I personally believe that for us, like we're close. Like we have some good parts.
It's I'm excited to see what Brian Schottenheimer, who's never been a head coach, can do to build us towards the Eagles.
I'm excited for us to extend number 11, and keep him on our defensive line and move him around, and he's going to have a big impact. Like, there's a lot of positive things coming. But to say that you're close to the Eagles, to say that when you've played them, you beat them, even though you're a 7-win team.
I think what he meant when he said they were close to the Eagles, they were on the same field, so they were in proximity to the Eagles. Maybe we were just misunderstanding.
Yeah, maybe we just misunderstood what Dak was saying there.
Because he went to the Super Bowl. They were in the same
I can't believe that Dak was trying to insinuate that the Dallas Cowboys football team was close.
But Jerry's going to clarify what Dak said.
It's got to be the right talent at the right economics. I've always made some pretty serious risk in talent. We certainly can do that here. What you're risking today is not only the player, but you're risking really a piece of your future, because that's what we're all spending as part of what we've got available to spend in years to come. I'm all for doing that. Yeah. I wouldn't have signed Dak Prescott, highest paid player in the NFL, if now wasn't when we wanted to win. This is a shocker to be here at this Super Bowl and not have the Cowboys here. I didn't plan on that when I made that agreement with them. So we're going to do everything we can to get there, and I'm not going to have it answering to some journalists or having it interpreted for me. I know what it takes to get there, and we'll do those things. Now, am I going to be right every time? Of course.
Bruh.
Can nobody say to him, oh, yeah, that's right, you paid Dak. Why'd you wait so long, and why'd you spend extra money to do it?
Hold on, Jerry. Wait, I thought you just said
it's a shocker the Cowboys aren't in the Super Bowl.
What? What?
Okay, maybe Troy Aikman can speak truth to power.
We had more in us, and I thought we would be back. Obviously, we weren't. But not only were we not back, but here we are almost 3 decades later, and no one's been back. And so, I think I speak for the Cowboys faithful in saying that it's been a long time, and this is the Dallas Cowboys, and it's an organization that's had great history, and this team has won a lot of games over the years with a lot of different players, but for whatever reasons, they just haven't been able to get it done in the postseason. But I don't think anybody's happy about that. That's been a part of the Cowboys' legacy and what this franchise has stood for so many.
Troy, dude,
I was hoping for more, Troy.
I just don't understand how every single week we get a bite from Jera, from Dak, from Micah on his podcast, from Troy Aikman. Like, how is it that every single week somebody affiliated with this damn organization comes out and says something crazy? No, I just don't. I can't understand it. Like, Jerry Jones, I understand it from Jera's perspective. That's Jerry Jones. That's the owner of the team. Okay. All right. Hey, you want to come out and give us your cocaine take for the day? That's fine. Saying that you're shocked that the Cowboys are not in the Super Bowl. Okay. All right. I'll write that off because that's Jera. We all know his track record, right? But when Dak said that they beat the Eagles and that they're close to the Eagles and that somehow the Cowboys are not that far away and they're close to taking over this division and they've got a bright future ahead. Dak, I'm trying to understand. What do you mean that you're close to the Eagles, the team that has beaten you pretty consistently, the team that, went to the Super Bowl, beat the best team in the league, like has the championship? You're not close to them. And then for Troy Aikman to come out here and say, hey, like, I think I speak for everybody when I say that it's been too long and we need to get back. Like, bro, I don't know. I just don't understand how we got so far away from logic with this organization.
I think that it is very difficult to be in Dallas and on the sports scene without kowtowing to Jerry Jones. And I think you don't succeed when you don't have a no man. And nobody says no to Jerry Jones. And he has horribly mismanaged this football team. He has horribly mismanaged the salary cap. He horribly mismanaged Dak's contract. He horribly mismanaged Leighton Vander Esch. The way he handled CeeDee Lamb's contract.
The whole Zeke saga.
Jerry Jones has repeatedly messed this team up. And the way you fix it, the only thing that I can think is the way you fix this is you trade Dak Prescott. You have to not. You either don't sign Micah Parsons or you trade Dak Prescott. I would more rather see them trade Micah because I think Dak's a generational quarterback. He's an elite passer. He has no help. He has no running backs. He has no wide receivers.
Yeah.
He has no offensive line. And now he's got an average-ass football coach that has no experience being a football coach. No experience as a head coach. Bounced around this league as an OC. I don't understand it. I simply do not understand it. You are not close to the Philadelphia Eagles.
No.
You're just not. Gumby says Troy Aikman. Exactly. Big Papa War Machine. My guy's box is just gone, man. Someone put cramps in a home. Good Lord. I'm saying.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you just listen to this guy talk and you're not even listening to like the point he's trying to make. You're just trying to keep up with the wild rambling that happens.
You're waiting for the skeleton to collapse.
Yeah.
Right? The Dallas Cowboys have not won a Super Bowl in the internet era. It's wild. Jeremy Bolton. He can do 51 pull-ups. Just ask him. He's got a Ragnar sticker on his car. I think he means distance-wise. Dallas is kind of close to Philly, but since he was there at the Super Bowl, he was closer to them. I agree. It's intimacy.
Apparently. We're having a geographical conversation now.
Tanner Plummer. So what I think the other thing Dak is referring to was 9-4 record against the Eagles overall. But yeah, they were not close last year, but we'll see what they do next year. They need a major influx of new talent on that roster. Period. Jeff Johnson, the Cowboys are no longer America's team. Just ask Ferris.
Right.
Well, of course. No. Nope. Charles Oliva, Dallas is closer to Cancun than the Super Bowl.
Right?
Got to be America's team.
Exactly. Gumby, the Cobwebs scored a total of 13 points this year against the Eagles. Jared and Dak are both smoking some.
I'm saying, dude.
Some nar. Totally agree. Garrett or Parsons? If I'm trading, I am going after Garrett. I would trade Micah Parsons for Myles Garrett, but Myles Garrett won't go to Dallas.
No,
I don't think. That just is wild. I worked with Tyler Smith's mom, and I met him once. Cool guy. They've moved him all over the line as far as a lineman go. He's the best they've got. Still a young guy, too. They just are not talented in Dallas right now.
There's not enough on the roster, man.
I will go to my grave saying CeeDee Lamb is not a franchise receiver. TJ Beck. Jerry Jones won't win another Super Bowl until he hires a Jimmy Johnson type coach and lets go of the reins. Barry Switzer was just a manager that lived off what Jimmy did. I totally agree. 100%. Sharon Eccles. Jerry Jones put a pound of salt on a Philly cheesesteak and thinks that's the Eagles. He's the Eagles. Exactly. Well, I eat cheesesteaks. I know how the Eagles operate.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, can you even imagine that? Can you even imagine that? I can't even imagine. If you are a Dallas Cowboy fan, what hope do you have?
Yeah, I don't think you have a lot of hope. And furthermore, my other question is, at what point, if you're Jerry Jones, do you start to think about like, man, maybe I do need someone to come in here. Like, at what point do you say to yourself, hey, it's been 20 years.
Never. Guys like him don't think that way.
Well,
guys like him don't think that way.
Wow.
I mean, it's why the scumbag Kansas City Chiefs won't cut Travis Kelce. And they should cut Trav in his $17 million cap.
Have you guys seen the videos coming out from the Super Bowl where Travis Kelce is on the field during a play doing nothing? Like, there's a specific clip that's viral right now on that Patrick Mahomes rollout to the right where Pat ran and there was a flag. Kelce's just standing on the NFL logo at the center field doing nothing. Like, what are we doing, bro?
Yeah. You were broken. And that's not as bad as Aaron Rodgers. What about this story?
Man.
Now, you guys have all railed me for this. When I've said the Pat McAfee show, it's a disaster for ESPN. And Aaron Rodgers should not be going on Pat's show. I have said that repeatedly.
Yeah.
I think it's bad for his brand. I think it's bad for his image. There's nothing good that comes out of the Pat McAfee show for Aaron Rodgers or Pat McAfee. Yet they continue to do it. And then he goes to meet with the New York Jets to try and continue he clearly wanted to play for the Jets again. And what did the Jets say? Okay, stop going on the Pat McAfee show. Any agreement we make with you will be contingent on you discontinuing your appearances on the Pat McAfee show. Now, I don't know that he agreed or disagreed to that.
Right.
But the very fact that the Jets, according to Diana Rossini, who's been pretty flippin' right about Aaron Rodgers and the Jets.
Yeah,
now.
you guys remember the Rossini-Aaron Rodgers saga, right?
Yeah, where Diana Rossini said he gave a list of players that he wanted on his Jet team. And he said that didn't happen. And then all those players wound up on the Jets.
Yeah, he said that Rossini was reporting fake stuff and making things up.
And then all those players wound up on the Jets.
Nice.
I don't understand why Aaron Rodgers continues to go on the Pat McAfee show. I'm assuming, based on watching his show on Netflix or wherever it is, I think it's Netflix, and his obsession with going on Pat's show, I'm assuming that Aaron Rodgers is going to do some kind of something. I don't think he'll ever be Tom Brady in the media, or I don't think he'll ever analyze games. I think he will do some kind of something show. Now is not the time to be doing that. And I will continue to tell you the damage that Aaron Rodgers does to himself going on Pat's show the lies that he has told, the people he has tried to tear down on that show, it's all coming back to roost because your football career is hanging. Aaron Rodgers' football career is hanging in the balance.
Yeah, I think the thing that nobody wants to talk about in terms of like nobody from ESPN, certainly Aaron Rodgers isn't going to talk about this, is the specifics around why Pat's show is an issue. It has nothing to do with whether Pat's show has worked for ESPN. The Jets don't give a damn about that. What the Jets care about is, hey, you're going on this guy's show and you're talking about all these issues. And then guys in the locker room have to answer questions. We have to answer questions.
You're a distraction.
You're a distraction.
For a guy who's not on the field, and when he's on the field, he doesn't produce.
And to make it worse, you want to get paid at the top of the league. Like, we've seen this. So, and then on top of all of that, you don't perform. So what position do you put the Jets in by doing this?
I don't even know where he goes. Because you look at the best divisions in football and you look at the teams that are likely to compete for a Super Bowl. I mean, the best team in the AFC is still probably Kansas City.
Right.
They don't need a quarterback. Baltimore doesn't need a quarterback. Cincinnati doesn't need a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the NFC. I mean, the best teams have quarterbacks.
Yeah, the reporting yesterday out of a couple of folks I saw on Twitter was the Titans were in the lead for Aaron Rodgers, and I don't think he'd ever play for the Titans.
But why would you go? That's my point.
Yeah.
If you're Aaron Rodgers, are you just going to play football games? Why would you do that?
I don't know.
You're just, if you're Myles Garrett, are you just wanting to go play football games? No. You asked to be traded away from Cleveland because you want to compete for a Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers should not just be playing football games, right? That's why you don't go to Minnesota. You don't go to New Orleans. You don't go to Tennessee because those teams don't compete. You don't go to Las Vegas unless they're going to spend an F ton of money. You don't go there. And if you look at the teams, like, and I don't, this obviously there's going to be a lot of conjecture in this, but if we look at the teams that could potentially, who are on the cusp of a Super Bowl, look at the AFC. As I said, Kansas City, Buffalo, Baltimore, no. Houston doesn't need a quarterback. The Chargers don't need a quarterback. Pittsburgh, they've got two, and they're trying to re-sign Russell Wilson. Are you bringing in the Aaron Rodgers circus?
No, hell no.
You're certainly
not. They're not. He's not a fit in that organization.
Denver, no. Cincinnati, no. Indianapolis, are you going to Indianapolis? Miami, no. The Jets said no. Jacksonville, no. New England, Las Vegas, maybe.
Yeah.
Are you going to Cleveland? Look at the NFC. Who are the teams on the cusp in the NFC? Could you go back to Green Bay? No, they have a quarterback, even if they would take you. You're not going to the Washington Commanders. Minnesota, if you're the Minnesota Vikings, you would bring in Aaron Rodgers. And admittedly, they don't have a quarterback on their roster. So how do you and what do you do with your quarterback position? I'm convinced Sam Darnold's more of an option than Aaron Rodgers.
I would agree.
Because I just don't know does Aaron Rodgers make you a Super Bowl contender in Minnesota?
Well, I mean, I certainly think you can play the angle of, hey, Aaron Rodgers with that wide receiver room would be nice. The problem is, and again, this is the part that I think, really hurts if you're Aaron Rodgers. People don't trust that you can stay healthy now. They don't trust that you're mobile enough, that you can roll the pocket right with regularity, that you could roll it left with regularity, that you could run for 5 yards if you need. Like, people don't buy that, man, mainly because you haven't put out tape showing that you can do that anymore. And again, if you're Minnesota, let's say, all the homers and tinfoil hat people want to say that there's a prophecy for him to go to Minnesota because Brett Favre did. And Brett Favre played for the Jets and then Minnesota. And then, so there's this whole thing about Minnesota. But if you're Minnesota, you've got J.J. McCarthy on the roster, and it's only a question of, hey, is Sam Darnold, are we good with Sam, even though he really let us down in the playoffs and played like crap? Or are we not good with Sam? And we're going to move on from him and we're going to try someone else. or are we just going to throw JJ in there and deal with it? Like that's what you're talking about in Minnesota. Again, I don't think that Minnesota is a place where you want the Aaron Rodgers circus. Like the only places that work for the Aaron Rodgers circus are major, like tier 1 markets like LA or New York or Chicago or, like that level of market. And all of those jobs are spoken for with withstanding the Rams, right? Obviously, there's a lot of smoke about Stafford and that situation and all that. So we'll see what happens there. But I'm just telling you guys, like, there's not some laundry list of places for Aaron Rodgers to go.
Not if he wants to win. Not if he wants to win.
Yeah.
Because I do think Las Vegas would sign him. I do think New Orleans would sign him. I have no doubt Tennessee would sign him. I do. I think the Giants would probably be entertaining a conversation. But are you going to win? That's the I don't know. It is interesting to see. I think Minnesota is very interesting.
I don't think that organizations with soft ass management in the front office can sign Aaron Rodgers. So the Giants, in my book, are not a fit, right? Like, you're a soft front office. You let guys walk all over you. Like, you didn't handle the Odell thing very well, in my opinion. Like, there were, the Saquon thing is an absolute embarrassment at this point. Like, I don't know what you were doing there. So the idea that you're going to bring Aaron Rodgers in and he's not going to get just everything he wants on his list is a joke. He's going to, if he would go there.
I think Minnesota, JJ McCarthy's not an NFL quarterback until he proves himself. Darnold's a system guy. They built a system for him. I mean, I don't know why you would do it, but it's all conjecture. It's all opinion. We'll see what they do. Sergeant Green, this has Cleveland written all over it. You cannot take another risk at quarterback if you're Cleveland.
But again, are we going to really put it past them after what they did?
I mean,
like that decision and that contract they signed with Deshaun, only to rework the contract, only to have him be completely irresponsible and, terrible with his recovery to pop his Achilles again. Like, I don't know.
I just think there's too many unknowns right now. What's going to happen in the draft? What's going to happen in the free agent market? What's Atlanta going to do with Kirk Cousins?
Yeah. Another guy.
What's going to happen? I don't know. Boyd Lake, I think there's time for everything. Some players mix in brand building when they should be focusing on the best way to build a sports brand, winning. Personal brand could come later, just win. I think when you win, it makes it easier to build a brand.
Tom Brady.
Saquon Barkley.
So
Saquon Barkley, what is Saquon Barkley obsessed with? Did you guys see the whole Bryson DeChambeau, Saquon Barkley thing? Bryson DeChambeau is all in to teach Saquon Barkley how to break 80 this offseason. Saquon Barkley claims his only goal this entire offseason is to break 80 playing golf. Saquon Barkley says if he does not break 80, he's quitting golf. Bryson DeChambeau's like, hey, man, come join us. Let's work together. He has a series where he does breaking 50. You shoot 50 for 18 holes from the front tees. I think Saquon Barkley is going to explode now. And it's going to happen in the YouTube space where you're going to hit the like button. Hit the like button. The eye patch. Minnesota would be interesting, and Rodgers would get to beat the Packers twice. Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. Brandon Butler, New Orleans is in cap hell right now. I doubt they can pay Rodgers. They are massively in cap hell. All right, real quick, because then we need to now I'm going to save it. Did you guys hear these claims about the Dallas Mavericks? Here on the Monty Show, presented by our friends at Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's favorite daily fantasy app. Download the Prize Picks app. Use the promo code Monty. You deposit $5 in a new Prize Picks account. They'll give you 50 more instantly when you use the promo code Monty. Let's play NBA together. Let's play baseball together. Heard from my season ticket rep at the Cubs. because I am now a full-fledged season ticket holder.
What did he say?
He said, tell Jake to go screw himself. No two shaking in the bleachers.
Okay.
Download the app. Use the promo code Monty. You deposit $5, they'll give you 50 more. So there's been all this stupidity from Mavericks fans. How could you trade him to the Lakers? Oh, my God. Death threats against Nico Harrison.
Yeah.
Mavs fans are so narrow that they're blaming Mark Cuban for this because he's the owner of the Mavericks. Only he's not the owner of the Mavericks anymore. Death threats. Coming home, having to add extra security to protect Anthony Davis and Nico Harrison because Mavs fans have threatened violence.
Anthony No Groin Davis.
Because you traded Luka to the Lakers in the middle of the night. So does it make you feel better that they tried to trade him for Giannis? And the Bucks were like, under no circumstances are we trading Giannis. What was the first Maverick fan reaction? Well, Luka's better than Giannis.
Okay.
Does it make you feel better that they tried to trade him to Minnesota for Anthony Davis? And the Timberwolves said... Anthony Edwards, excuse me. Under no circumstance are we trading Anthony Edwards to anybody for anybody. Well, he's better than Anthony Edwards. No, he's not. And I think Maverick fans can't get out of their own space enough to say Luka Doncic currently is not one of the top probably 7 players in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
You watched Kevin Durant break 30,000 points last night. Right now, here today, if I'm trying to win a championship today, I'd rather have Kevin Durant. Now, in the next decade, no. But right now, here today, in a today, right now league, which the NBA is, I'd rather have Kevin Durant. If I look at the awesome performances last night, would I rather have Scotty Barnes or Luka Doncic? Luka Doncic. Would I rather have Karl Anthony Towns or Luka Doncic? Right now, today, I'd probably rather have Karl Anthony Towns. Because the guy is more capable of helping you win a championship than Luka is. What we learned, and let's see what happens tonight at altitude, 4,500 feet above sea level here in Salt Lake City. The Lakers are in town, and certain people didn't want to go to the game with me, so I'm going alone. Ask yourself, is Luka Doncic in position to help the Lakers win a championship right now? Not if he is who he is in game one. No, he's not. Because the other night, he was not in shape. Okay, he's been off. Did not shoot well. Did not pass the ball well. Okay, it's game one. But do you believe that Luka Doncic is better than Anthony Edwards or Giannis?
No, I don't think he's better than those two guys. I would disagree slightly on the game one thing. I thought he passed well in game one. He didn't shoot well in game one. He looked nervous. He looked out of sync. He just looked like he had been off. But no, I don't think he's better than those two guys. I think that Luka Doncic is going to have to prove that he's willing to play the defensive side of the ball better. And the thing that worries me is that he's very heavy on his feet. We know this. And I'm not saying that it's because, in my opinion, he's a little bit overweight for an NBA player. Like, you know, I think that the thing that bothered me about the whole Luka Doncic trade scenario conversation was people trying to defend this guy's conditioning and saying, well, he's not fat. Look at him. Look at all these skinny pictures coming out. Right. When we talk about an NBA player being fat or overweight, we're not doing it in the same way that we're talking about Jim at the sandwich shop being fat. I'm not saying Luka's got a boiler, dude. What I'm saying is that this guy is a professional athlete. This guy should be yoked, should be ripped, should be. Do you understand that these guys? I mean, I'd have to look up the stat to know how far the average NBA starter in the league runs in an average NBA game, but it's miles, bro. And ultimately, this is someone who is only conditioned to play one side of the floor. That's his issue. His issue is he gets tired.
But it's always the fat guys who are injured. Always. Look at Zion Williamson. Oh, Monty, did you see Zion put up 40? And then he probably pulled an abductor muscle. It's always the guys. Like Zion just doesn't play games.
Mm-hmm.
Luka doesn't play games. Missed almost 100 games. Is now right at, I think he's missed 98 games. That's a lot of games for supposedly the best player in the NBA, which he's not. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or Luka Doncic?
Yeah, that's not even a conversation.
Giannis, Nikola Jokic, or Luka Doncic?
What's the difference between those two and Luka?
Multiple rings. Tyrese Maxey or Luka Doncic?
This one will piss people off.
I think that's a really close conversation. Tyrese Maxey plays a ton of games, and he's averaging 28 points a game.
But again,
and I'm talking about right now, this season, trying to win a championship. I'm taking Tyrese Maxey. Kevin Durant, Jason
not a
Tatum,
conversation.
Jason Tatum,
Not a conversation.
Devin Booker, Jalen Brunson. I'm taking all of those guys over Luka Doncic right now today to win a championship. Damian Lillard.
I would take Luka.
I would take Luka too. Anthony Davis. I would take Luka. Cade Cunningham. Ooh.
I think Cade also shares the not playing games thing. This is his first year where he's really played a lot of
49 games.
Yeah,
and he's been
putting
hurt
out
a lot.
He's putting out, no question. But I would probably give Luka the edge over Cade Cunningham.
Shooting 35% from three, Cade Cunningham.
Yeah.
I think that's close. De'Aaron Fox, I'm taking Luka. LeBron James.
You're taking LeBron. But now we don't have to have that discussion.
Victor Wembanyama.
Luka.
Karl Anthony Towns. I'm taking Karl Anthony Towns.
Here's the problem with the cat conversation, though. Karl Anthony Towns is one of the most inconsistent players in the NBA, in my opinion. Some nights, like last night, he'll give you 40. And then other nights.
But he's averaging 24 points. He is averaging 13 and a half rebounds.
Yeah.
Karl Anthony Towns is shooting 42.6% from three. Now on low volume, right? He shoots 5 threes a game. I'm taking Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah.
I'm taking Karl Anthony Towns. Kyrie Irving or Luka Doncic? I'm probably taking Luka. Donovan Mitchell or Luka Doncic? Right now, today.
Probably Don.
Taking Donovan.
Yeah.
Norman Powell, Tyler Hero, go down most of these guys, I'm taking Luka. But when you start talking to me, I'm taking Luka over Jaylen Brown. Now, wait. In Boston's situation, that's tough, actually.
They're really close.
You know what the thing that puts Jalen over the top as I think about this? My knee-jerk reaction was Luka, but Jaylen Brown's one of the best on-ball defenders in the league. And he is by far the best leaper in the NBA. I'm taking Jaylen Brown. I'm taking Jaylen Brown.
Tyrese Halliburton.
Luka Doncic. Alex Caruso. I'm taking Alex Caruso.
Austin Reeves.
You joke. As a casual observer of the LA Lakers, I'm taking Dalton Connect. No, I'm kidding.
Here's a good one.
Joke.
Here's a good one. Markkanen or Luka.
Oh, Luka all day. Lauri Markkanen is it. Lauri Markkanen, again, Lauri Markkanen's that guy who's a spectacular player. He's amazing. He's awesome. Can't be a number one. Cannot be a number one. And what do you go? 0 of 8 from 3?
Yeah.
Luka Doncic is far more dynamic offensively. Lauri's a better defender. But
I don't know if that's Luka's problem. He can't definitively say he's better than a lot of the top guys in the league.
Oh, it's a conversation for Lauri Markkanen, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I would agree with that. Jeremy Bolton. Alex Caruso or a box of turds? Tough. That's tough. Lauri is putting in a level of effort worthy of the tank job this year. He was terrible against the Lakers the other night. Fat Jesus, DeAndre Ayton. I'm taking Luka. Suns can't beat any good teams, even at home. Durant had 34. I think there was an obsession to get him to 30,000.
Clearly.
You know. So I think that was a big part of it.
Yeah.
Is Kevin Durant still an elite player?
Yes.
Because I'm starting to buy into this narrative among Suns fans. They're wasting Devin Booker. Trying to trade Kevin Durant was the right thing to do. If I had been Dallas, I would have tried to trade for Kevin Durant instead of Anthony Davis. But I think they should have traded Kevin Durant if they could have. Because I do think the Suns are wasting Devin Booker. I don't know how else you make the art. You've fired multiple coaches. You've never been able to build. You've never been able to build a roster that has any kind of depth. This is what the Lakers have been struggling with, and now they've finally done it. Austin Reeves. Like, this Dalton Connect thing is very interesting. Mark Williams was traded from Charlotte, the center, was traded from Charlotte to the Lakers for Dalton Connect. Mark Williams failed his physical with the Lakers, who voided the trade. Dalton Connect, I would think, would be available tonight. Mark Williams is refusing to go back to the Hornets, who are probably going to have to buy him out. Only problem is now he doesn't have a job because the Lakers signed Alex Len, which was a really good pickup for them. But you look at the Lakers now, and you look at the depth they have on that roster. Dude, that's what Phoenix has never been able to do. You've got to have two studs, right? You've got to have two studs.
Got to have the duo.
And Kevin Durant and Devin Booker are very good together. The problem is they can't afford, because those two guys are making so much money, they can't afford Austin Reeves, Dalton Connect. They can't afford to go and build a depth that you need in this league, especially in the West. You need everybody to score. Austin Reeves, and I know, again, I'm the only one that likes Austin Reeves on this show. Do you guys understand how good he is now? How easy the three ball is for him now? How easy his defense is now?
He's one of the most pliable players in the league, dude. You can ask him to go out and get you 40 on a random night in March. You can ask him to be the point guard of your offense. You can ask him to take a backseat offensively and play defense. And 9 games out of 10, he's going to do exactly what you need him to do. He's going to play the role that you ask him to play. Like, I loved the story when the other night when he dropped, I think it was 45. I think it was 45, 7 and 7. I believe it was. Might have been 40.
Without LeBron and Luka.
Without LeBron and Luka, JJ Redick before that game, after warmups, went to Austin Reeves and said, "Hey, dude, for us to win tonight, you're going to have 38 points, 8 boards, 8 assists." And all Austin Reeves went out and did was it over-exceeded the expectation.
Remarkable. And you're looking at, I just keep pointing to the bottom of the Western Conference. Golden State with Jimmy Butler is a different team.
Yeah, they are.
Did you see Steph Curry on the bench for 11 straight game minutes the other night? Because Jimmy Butler was dominating. And
It's
that's
huge.
who Jimmy's got a point to prove now, right?
Yeah.
So you look at that, and I look at the Sacramento Kings, who have now won 2 straight. I look at the Dallas Mavericks. That's the team that the Suns are going to need to falter, because they're a game and a half behind Dallas.
Oh, they're faltering. They've lost 4 centers now.
Dude. And now the All-Star break is coming. So everybody's going to get rest. Everybody's going to reload. I don't think the Suns, particularly because I also think this game tonight for San Antonio at Boston is massively important. It's a huge game. We need to see De'Aaron put out with Victor against one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. We'll see what happens. Do you guys understand that Boston is giving up 108 points a game, which in this league is elite? There are few teams there's only one other team in the East giving up fewer points, and it is the Orlando Magic at 105. And you look at the best defensive team in the NBA, probably Oklahoma City, 104. I mean, it's unbelievable how good Boston is defensively. San Antonio's got to go there and win.
Mm-hmm.
They do. Brandon Butler, that Beal trade's going to be an anchor around the Suns' neck and the worst contract in the NBA. Ishbia should stand back and let basketball guys do their job.
Yeah, dude. Beal is probably 3 role players.
Yeah.
Like that's, again, you can't get too greedy. And this is what I like about what the Lakers did here. They said, okay, we'll trade one of our best players and we'll get one of their best players back. And the money is going to be pretty similar, but we're going to get way more upside offensively. And that's the thing. We talk so much about the downfalls of Luka and his game, but the upside with Luka is, hey, this is someone who can drop 50 on a team at any given time in the playoffs, and Bron can take a back seat to that and just feed him and kind of do the whole Jimmy Steph dynamic where Bron can take a few possessions off. Luka can go ahead and carry the squad for a minute. Like, Bron hasn't had that opportunity. Anthony Davis has always been, and everyone say, hey, it's Anthony Davis's team, but somehow Bron has always been the spearhead. Bron's always been the guy leading that team. And so I think that the cool thing is Luka no longer has to be a number one, but can find his moments. And that takes some pressure off. Now, again, I agree with everyone saying, hey, he's got to get in better shape. He needs to find his stride in with the Lakers, and he will. He will. But the question's going to be, what is now the Lakers' best? When they're at their best, who are they as good as? And I do think they're probably a top 3 team in the West.
Whoops, fan Gabe, time to accept Devin Booker just isn't that guy, Morty. Talented scorer, sure, but he's not a champion. Well, he's a number 2. Devin Booker's not a number 1. But the issue isn't, Devin Booker is absolutely not the problem in Phoenix. You would love him to shoot 37, 38% from 3. He hasn't. But you've asked him to do many things, become a better scorer. He's an elite scorer. I think he's 8th in the NBA in scoring, and he is still top 3 mid-range players in the NBA. And now he is a pretty good defender. But you don't, when you have Devin Booker and Kevin Durant just doesn't play the volume of games that he used to, and you don't have anybody else who can just step in and give you 3/4 of what Kevin Durant gives you. Like, Austin Reeves is capable now, when LeBron's out, of carrying the Lakers offensively to a win. Devin Booker is capable of carrying the Suns to a win, but he's got no 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guy. He doesn't have, like, you look at the thing that is making the Lakers a real contender in the West is not LeBron James. It is the fact that when you look at their numbers and you start to see that Jordan Goodwin is averaging 13.5 points a game in his 2 games. They went and found it. They knew they needed more offense off the bench. They went and found the best scorer in the G League they could. And his name is Jordan Goodwin. But look at Rui Hachimura. How many people understand that Rui is, I think, still 40% from 3? Rui Hachimura not only is an elite defender, plays 32 minutes a game. He gives you 13 rebounds, 13 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists. A legitimate option, right? Dalton Connect, averaging 10 points a game and 20 minutes off the bench. Dorian Finney-Smith has had a revelation as an on-ball defender for the Lakers. Like, you have all these pieces. Now, Jackson Hayes. All Jackson Hayes has to do is play 15 minutes a night, and now it'll be 15 minutes because they have Alex Len.
Mm-hmm.
And just catch some lobs and block some shots.
Yeah, and I think that Jackson Hayes is a nice mobile small 5 that they can use in certain matchups in the playoffs. And Alex Len is a 7-footer who flamed out in Phoenix as a young guy and has tried to find his way through the league and has his uses. But I again, and this is now where we start talking about JJ Redick. You cannot overexpose Alex Len. Like, people saying that Alex Len is just this amazing big. He's not an amazing big, but he serves a purpose on the roster.
Yeah. But in Phoenix, we have Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. Then it's Bradley Beal, Tyus Jones, Grayson Allen, Royce O'Neal, Nick Rich. Anybody see Nick Richards get a ball bounced off his face last night? Like, you look at this roster, you just don't have the dudes. You don't have a roster. You've got Book and KD, and that's it.
And a bunch of dudes.
And I don't think anybody is. I'm not certainly making the argument that Devin Booker is a number one. But you're wasting him. He is he is Dwayne Wade to LeBron James.
Yeah.
He's absolutely that guy. And you don't, but Kevin Durant has played 10 less games than Book, I think. It's frustrating to watch the Suns, no doubt. Zona, the Suns need a legit point guard. Yes, they do. Because you're asking Devin Booker, who is a 2-3, to play 1.
Once again, you're asking him to play point guard.
And he's never thrived bringing the ball up. He's never thrived there. Read that one already. There's a couple other things. There were so many comments about OJ yesterday. I don't have time to get to it.
Yeah.
I love that you guys love that OJ story.
We'll get into it more.
The OJ Mafia story. Make sure you hit the like button, please, if you're watching on Twitter. If you are watching on Facebook, TikTok, SoundCloud. I said SoundCloud.
Yeah.
Anyway, wherever you're watching the show, it's such a default to say SoundCloud instead of Spotify. If you're watching on Spotify, come on over to YouTube. Just Google search The Monty Show. The first thing that'll come up is YouTube. The link is on all my socials, Instagram, X, Twitter. Click the link, hit subscribe, give us a thumbs up.
Do it.
Thank you to everybody who watched the show today. We are, as always, presented by The Advocates at theadvocates.com. Until tomorrow, Jakey Two Shakes. Say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.